Let's get right into it. Slime Heroes is a souls-like adventure game, built to be a less grueling and more forgiving take on what's known as a very difficult genre. If you subscribe to souls-lite as a term, it's very applicable here. The story revolves around you as a modest little slime, rising up and reclaiming your homeland from a mysterious corruption that's infecting the creatures of the world and its powerful guardians. The game makes clear how wimpy and meager slimes are meant to be, and this theme of slowly growing stronger and succeeding against all odds is reinforced through dialogue, lore, and of course, gameplay. Slime Heroes incorporates many, though not all, of the standard Souls-like tropes you'd expect from the genre. Timing-based combat, unguided exploration, gems you lose upon death and can recollect, health restoration, and fast travel at checkpoints, the list goes on. Exploring and unlocking new areas of the map generally involves a few key to-dos. Fighting lots of smaller enemies, leveling up your slime with the gems you collect, conquering puzzle dungeons and horde mode rooms, as well as defeating a boss in the form of a corruptive guardian. Rinse and repeat as you progress. Combat is fueled by two main components, weapons and skills. The former is your usual suite of close-up or ranged weaponry, each with their own advantages, disadvantages, and attack timing to master. Slimes can also wear hats with various abilities that can impact your combat readiness out in the field of play. Skills involve your slime casting spells or powering itself up in some way, and the cool part here is how customizable this system becomes. Each of your primary skill slots can have a secondary effect of your choosing, as well as elemental augmentations like cold damage, fire damage, or health regeneration layered atop. You also eventually get ultimates, which are incredibly powerful attacks that require a lot of fighting to charge them up. The considerable variety in the skill mechanic allows for lots of different builds and approaches. For example, it's quite easy to restore enough health from fighting that you'll almost never need to go back to a checkpoint. This lends itself to some serious creativity, especially when finding your preferred way to take on enemies or solve puzzles. You'll really need to lean on that creativity though, as combat itself isn't all that special. You have your standard array of quick, weak attacks and slower, more powerful ones, plus aerial strikes and your chosen spells, but little in the overall system feels unique. While some variety is offered with different creature types per section of the map, fighting them as often as you're supposed to starts to feel hollow and repetitive quickly. This is why you'll need to lean on experimenting with the skill system to keep combat engaging. It doesn't stand up super well on its own. The aforementioned hollowness occasionally extends to the presentation as well, most notably the music. The soundtrack leans heavily into that whimsical fantasy sort of feel. It's fitting, but it lacks definition or character, and largely feels serviceable but forgettable as a result. The rest of the presentation fares a bit better. Your slime characters are bouncy and appropriately cute, making little squeaks and noises as they interact with the world, which looks nice for what it's worth, with lots of location variety and very soft color and texture choices that again try hard to create that sense of wonder and whimsy. Wandering around that world is where some of the frustration sets in. Your slime has an odd sense of weight to its movement, where running will only kick in after several seconds of moving at your default speed, which frankly is not very fast. This sluggishness in control makes moving around during combat more challenging, which assumedly is by design, but also serves to frustrate when you find yourself wandering aimlessly for the next objective or a critical path you missed and wishing you could just go a little faster. This can also throw off your timing in platforming segments, which is unfortunate as there are many death pits and one-hit kill hazards in places where jumping accuracy matters. You also essentially have no camera control. This forced perspective often works against you rather than with you. It can make some jumps trickier than necessary, keep important things off-screen when you need to see them, and get in the way when trying to navigate dungeons. The game was clearly designed with this static viewpoint in mind, yet it simultaneously feels like it wasn't, and it's curious how frequently it becomes an issue. Like many titles published by Whitethorn Games, Slime Heroes leans heavily into its difficulty and accessibility settings, and this lends the game some more uniqueness. Nearly everything, from the strength and speed of enemy attacks to your energy recharge speed, has an optional slider, alongside features like outlining your character on screen or extending how quickly timed puzzles will push you to finish them. A full-fledged cooperative mode even lets two slimes play through the entire game and tackle combat together. This all makes Slime Heroes one of the more approachable games in this genre, which is interesting. Souls-like games are often known for their high difficulty levels and demanding gameplay, so to have an optional way to take even these already dulled edges off, if or when you need to, is welcome. The question then becomes whether this overall design methodology sounds appealing. It's tempting to just call the game Dark Souls for kids and get on with it, but it does provide a thoughtfully accommodating twist on the Souls-like experience throughout its 12 to 14 hours of play. Whether that accessibility and welcoming nature can overcome the flaws in exploration and combat is entirely up to you. So when you put it all together, Slime Heroes gets 3 gloobies out of 5, a little above average. Its existence as a friendlier, more approachable Souls-like game will appeal to those who struggle with the genre, but clumsiness in gameplay and some uninspired creative choices may dull that appeal over time. Slime Heroes is available now on Xbox Series consoles and PC, with Nintendo Switch and PlayStation versions coming in the future. This review was conducted via a Steam key provided by the publisher. For a more in-depth review, check out our deep dive companion piece on our podcast, Hypocritical. Thanks so much for watching. Stay fresh, cheese bags. We'll catch you back here real soon.